This pickup is amazing. If you love Commodore 64 and the games from that era, oh, I got such an awesome deal. Please stay tuned. This is probably going to be a 2 or 3-parter because there's so much stuff. I'll try to make it as short as I can, but stay tuned. Check it out. Hey guys, Brendan here, aka Mr. Weaverface, and if you love old computer games, you know, vintage computers or Commodore 64 stuff, you are going to blow your gasket, man, when you see all the cool stuff that I just picked up. Now, the story goes like this. I have a Craigslist ad collecting video games, but I do have a Craigslist ad that also says I collect Commodore 64 stuff. You know, just an ad specifically for Commodore. And a guy contacted me and he said he had a bunch of stuff, but he was going out of town and he was going to be out of town for like a whole month and he didn't have time to take pictures to show me this stuff. The guy lived at like over an hour drive away, so I didn't want to just drive there an hour to find out he has like a couple scratched floppy disks and a broken Commodore 64 console. So I said, yeah, I'll wait, just, you know, contact me when you get back. A month passed, I didn't hear from him. So I emailed him back. I say, you know, I talked to you earlier. Do you happen to still have that Commodore 64 stuff? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, can I see some pictures of the stuff? And he said, sure. So he actually took pictures and posted it on his website, and I was able to look at all the stuff. And I was floored, man. The guy had Commodore 64 stuff, Commodore 128. I never owned a 128, and I was able to pick one up at a ridiculously low price in this lot. Games with manuals, games in box, man, cartridge games. I cannot wait to show you this stuff. But anyway, so I looked at this stuff, and in the email he said, I have more stuff than what I showed you pictures of, and he asked for a ridiculously low amount for all the stuff. It sounded like him and his wife just wanted to get rid of all the stuff. He was not going to use it anymore. And as a fellow collector, you know that you and I will gladly take a bunch of video games and awesome stuff off another person's hand for a ridiculously low price. So I met with the guy. I had to clear out my entire SUV, take out the car seats for my 2 kids, put the back seat down, and my Ford Escape was full of Commodore 64 stuff after I met the guy. And I brought the stuff home, and I've been sifting through it over the past week and a half. And I'm just going to start showing you the stuff because it's awesome. So let's take a look. All right, the first stuff that I want to show you is stuff that I already sold on eBay. Now, if I was a pure Commodore 64 collector, I would never have sold this stuff because the stuff is rare, it's valuable, it's functional, and it's just plain awesome. But I collect video games, and I really just got the lot of Commodore 64 stuff. I mean, I love the Commodore 64, but I got it mostly for the games. So if I can make my money back selling stuff that I don't really collect, I'd be glad to sell it to another collector who's going to use it in their collection or functionally use it for their Commodore 64 stuff. The first item is probably a rare item that you've never seen before. It's called the Super 1750 Clone Cartridge, and it came with the disc and manual. I tested it out on my Commodore 64, and the clone cartridge passed. And all that is a RAM expansion unit, and it doesn't need its own power supply. You just plug it in the back of the Commodore 64 where you plug in like the cartridge games. And it adds 512K of RAM, which isn't a lot, but for Commodore 64 standards, it's pretty significant. That I put up as a buy it now of $100, and I had tons of watchers right off the bat. And the night that I put it up there, it actually sold for the full amount of $100. Maybe it could have gone for more, but from my experience from all the other 1750 clones that were sold previously, I tried to price it at a fair price, and it went for that. So very happy to sell that to someone who's going to use it or collect it. The next thing was there were 2 broken Commodore 64 consoles in the lot. I didn't test them, and it looked like they were not working, but I sold them both for 40 bucks for the pair. And I think people use broken Commodores for the parts. The main part is the SID chip, and that's the music chip on the Commodore 64. And you know that the music for the Commodore 64 and the effects, and it was just plain awesome. And people use that SID chip in constructing their own synthesizers. I mean, I've seen synthesizers on eBay with that SID chip go for multiple hundreds of dollars. So it's definitely a valuable component for people into that EDM stuff and creating synthesized sounds and music and stuff. So that was another item that I sold. The next one was just the Geo software version 2.0. I got about 20 bucks for that. I sold the Qualipad with the Qualer Painter cartridge, and that came with the stylus and the manuals. And that's kind of like the 1980s version of today's touchscreen technology. You use the stylus, you write on that pad, and then the cursor on the screen would follow what you're drawing. So that was definitely used by programmers to create those loading screens, to create basically create works of art for the Commodore 64, and just for playing around for the normal user for like just painting and stuff. The other thing that I sold were just a couple of books related to the Commodore 64 disk drive. Sold that for about 11 bucks. And then there was a utility software, which was a disk drive alignment software made by Free Spirit Software that I tested, and it was working. And I saw that recently sold for 40 bucks on eBay, and I sold that for 40 bucks. Came with the box, disc, and manual. So just by selling those few items, I made all my money back and earned even more money than what I spent on the entire lot of Commodore 64 stuff. And we're just getting started, so let me just start showing you some of the games, and we'll go from there. Alright, the first stuff that I'm going to show you is stuff that I already owned in my Commodore 64 collection, and this is the stuff that I found in the lot that I got. So this is stuff that's going to be for sale, so check it out on eBay, or if you live locally around here, check for it on Craigslist. The first stuff are games that were just disc only. The first one is Gunship by Microprose. 2-in-1 software containing BMX Trials and 1985. The classic arcade hit Outrun. This actually is a pretty good game for the Commodore 64, and I remember playing that, so I will definitely have to play that. Platoon. This game actually is awesome, but when I played it as a kid, I did not have any instructions, so I had no idea what I needed to do. Fortunately, I do have an upgraded version of this with the manual, so I'll be able to finally figure out how to play it. Awesome music too, if I remember correctly. The Hunt for Red October. I actually have that complete in box, and I'll show you that later. I picked that up. The lot actually had the disc version, and it had a complete in box version. Steel Thunder. The Pawn, which is actually an awesome text, graphic-based text adventure. Have not played it, but I have heard things good about it. And also Legacy of the Ancients, also an awesome game there. Games with the manuals, and again, these are games that I already own. The Racing Destruction set. The Bard's Tale. Has a little manual here. It's actually just the command summary, but it does have the manual. But again, I have like the complete with the box and more more stuff in that. If you had a Commodore 64, you played this game. Summer Games by Epics. I remember playing this in Summer Games 2. Being able to try to beat your own records and getting the world records. So much fun. Defender of the Crown, another awesome game with the manual there. An Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game, Pool of Radiance. Now I already own this in the box, but this does come with the manual, the summary card, and it also does have the Adventurer's Journal. Only downside, it does not have the code wheel, which I believe you need to play. So you could probably pick the code wheel or find it online and print it out and make your own code wheel. And another Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game, Hills Far. Just the disc and just the manual, and I think that does need a code wheel as well. So, pretty decent. A game, now to the boxed games. A game that I already owned, another Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game, Curse of the Azure Bonds, if I'm saying that correctly. That's definitely your traditional RPG. Another Advanced Dungeons and Dragons gold box game, Champions of Krynn. And these are pretty solid boxes full of stuff. I mean, I'm opening up this one here. But clue book. I mean, these, I already own these and these are complete. Yeah, better not break it. Clue book, adventures journal, all the discs. The person that got it for actually made backup discs, which is a smart thing to do in case something goes bad with that. And a couple games not too exciting, but Sim City. The original Sim City back in the day when it came out for the Commodore and the PC. And the final game, Infiltrator. This is one of those games where, again, I owned as a kid. I kind of figured out how to get somewhere in the game by just playing around with all the buttons on the keyboard. But now that I own the game with the manual, I'll be able to play it the way it's supposed to be played. So that's the stuff that I already owned. Let me just show you a couple cartridge games and a couple more disc-only games, and then we'll leave the rest for another video. So here we go. Let me show you some of the disc-only games that I got that I don't already own. And these are all originals. There was actually how many containers full of copied games, maybe blank discs and utilities and stuff. There was like 190 discs like that, but I only collect the original stuff. So let me just show you the original games that I found. By Mastertronic, Panther. Load and Go software. I don't know if that was a subscription service, but I saw a lot of these and I do remember them as a kid. This one has a few games on it: Labyrinth, Jump, and Rat Run. Rat Run. This game I kept. It looks like it's a copy, but there was a lot of effort made into making the label or the title of the disc. Yeah, that's all like hand done, that Castle Wolfenstein there. I've never played Castle Wolfenstein for the Commodore 64, so I'm excited to check it out, but I'm keeping that because of that original artwork on the label there. I thought it was cool. I actually found a Sierra game, and it looks like an educational thing. It says The Wizard of Id's Whiz Type. And then on the back label it says Wizard of Id's Whiz Math. So it looks like an educational program using the Wizard of Id's to teach you math and how to type. So I thought that was cool. Not very game-ish, but something that I want to keep in my collection. Solo Flight by Microprose. Destroyer by Epics. Man, what happened to Epics? They made such good games. Actually, I think I read a little bit about it. Something with them, with the Atari Lynx. Like I think they were bought out to create that console by Atari or something, and then because the Lynx like crapped out, it kind of phased away. I have to look that up. That's probably bad information, so don't hold me to that. But that's what I remember reading about Epics. But they made tons of awesome games, man. By Buena Vista Software, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And this is cool because the disc holder actually has some artwork on there as well. So that looks cool. I love golf, so I got Pro Golf by Mastertronic. Jingle Disc, Thoughtware, educational Christmas program or something? I don't know. Another educational thing by Vision Software, just math drills with a bunch of math drills on there because I need to brush up on my math. Some utilities from Share Data. They made all those awesome games of game shows like Class Concentration, Family Feud, Wheel of Fortune. These two discs are called Stack Pack. One has interactive adventures and computing tools on it. So, okay, I guess. The Game of Alf by Box Office, based on Alien Lifeform TV show. Stealth Mission. The Printed Word. No idea. Text Adventure. I'll have to check it out. I mean, honestly, I have not checked out most of these games. Hopefully they all do work. But the thing is, there were so many of them. I've just had enough time to really sort through the stuff rather than get to play most of the stuff. A few more things. By Mastertronic, Green Eye of Zub and Pub Darts. Mastertronic, man, I remember that. So many great software companies that just aren't all around anymore, man. It's depressing. Railroad Tycoon by Maxion. And I showed this earlier, but by GameWare, the 2-on-1 BMX trials in 1985. There were actually 2 of them in the lot, so I'm keeping one and getting rid of the other one. And the last one that was disc only, Classic Concentration by Share Data. Again, one of those game show games. And another thing that was in the lot was a whole stack of Lodestar discs. And this was a subscription service, and I think it may or may not have came with a magazine, because I don't have any Lodestar magazines here, but I think it did come with the magazine. Again, don't hold me to that. But about 20 to 30 discs here. Huge stack, and pretty much each side, each disc has 2 sides of stuff. Games and software and utilities and stuff. So there's like a series, like the 100th issue is in here. So yeah, there's pretty much a good amount of games and software with those Lodestar discs. So that's all the disc-only games that were originals that I got. So let me just show you the cartridges next. Alright, the last thing I want to show you in this video is the loose cartridge-based games that I got. All but one of them came with their original manuals. So most of the games are probably very intuitive, but very cool to have the manual in case there is any question, because like I said earlier, a lot of games I owned as a kid didn't have manuals and they were tough to figure it out sometimes. The first one, game that's in the lot, Battle Zone, Radar Rat Race, Rootin' Tootin'. I think it's like a musical type of game. The Designer's Pencil. Yeah, I don't know if that's a game or if it's kind of like an artwork type program. Clowns. If it's anything like Pennywise from It, I am probably not going to play it. Sounds scary. Awesome game, arcade game, Qbert. And this style cartridge, I remember owning Frogger with the manual in the box and Popeye with the manual in the box back in the day. Popeye was an awesome game. It reminded me a lot like the original Mario Brothers game with that kind of setup. And you get to eat the spinach and get all the hearts from olive oil, I think. They were falling down, and then you get the spinach and knock Pluto off the board. Oh man, that takes me back, man. I don't know where that came from in my mind, but I do remember that now. Invisible Solar System, an educational game. This game I owned as a copy on a disc. I'd never owned it as a cartridge, but the game is Tapper. Now, if you have not played this game is awesome. You have to serve your beer to all the patrons, and the goal is to serve enough beer and not serve too many, where the beer would drop at the end of the bar. So again, play this game. Very awesome. Kickman. Another game, Moon Patrol. I remember playing that. That's an awesome side-scrolling game, if I remember correctly. Another arcade classic for the Commodore 64, Congo Bongo. Pretty good value and a pretty cool game. So I'm glad to have that. That's made by Sega. Tapper is made by Bally Midway, so different programs. This is one game that I don't have the manual for. It's Dig Dug, and I love this arcade game. If I go to an arcade and see this game there, I will play it every single time that I go. I love Dig Dug. Awesome game. Tooth Invaders, an educational game about cleaning and flossing teeth. And that's what that's all about. And last two, Grid Runner. And then Attack of the Mutant Camels. Now, what's weird is that this game is almost exactly like Grid Runner. It's pretty much the same game. Not sure why Attack of the Mutant Camels is called Grid Runner, but yeah, I don't know. But anyway, those are all the loose cartridge games with manuals that I got in the lot. Alright, that about sums it up for this video. I have tons of more stuff to show you. It is just plain ridiculous. I mean, I spent so much time sorting through the stuff, finding item after item after item. There is a lot of cool stuff. I have a whole stack of games to show you with manuals, a whole stack of games to show you in the box. I'm looking over here because this is the table where I have all the games right now. I have a bunch of hardware in the other room. I have collections of Commodore 64 magazines from that era. The magazines are really cool to look through at the articles and the prices of the games and the advertisements. I hope to show you a little bit about that too in a future video. But there's definitely going to be a part 2, maybe a part 3 because there's so much stuff. The Commodore 64 holds a very special place in my heart, and I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. If I brought back any nostalgia for the Commodore 64, please write about it in the comment section below. I would be glad to read about that. And also, if you have any games that you suggest from the ones that I showed you so far, please let me know and maybe describe the games just so I have a little bit of heads up of what kind of game I should expect when I load it up. Load, quotation, star, quotation, comma 8, comma 1, boom! That's what it's all about, right? So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Brendan, aka Mr. Weaverface. Take care.